Greetings, travelers. How's everybody doing? It's Ed Gates and Paul Gamber with the Getaway Gang. Hope everybody's doing great. Sorry we've been out for a few weeks, but we're back. We wanted to talk to you this week about what's been going on in Paul and Ed's world. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing good. You know, it was one thing after another. We had a big fire nearby, and I don't know, it's been a crazy month, but it's good to be back. I'm enjoying one final afternoon outside to make the show because we're having a super duper mega crazy heat wave here. It's supposed to be possibly 117 here in the San Gabriel Valley by Sunday, so I'm not looking forward to that. I'll be hiding inside.
Yes, Arizona has not been my friend this year. Usually I can get through these summers of 110 plus degree heat. I can put up with a few days of those as long as there's some thunderstorms, and that's the trade-off. As long as we get some good rainstorms, and pretty much all we've gotten all summer long was a couple big windstorms and a lot of heat. And we're looks like we're hitting our last hurrah of heat wave this time too. We have 113 for tomorrow, but then of course it's going to be beautiful by the end of next week. So hopefully that's a downward trend to continue.
Let's bring it on, please. Let's do it.
That's right. There was a couple hurricanes while we were away too. You know, especially a big one. I hope everybody who was in the path of Laura got out safely and are doing okay now. So we definitely send our thoughts and prayers with that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so that but we're back now, and we've been putting a lot on the daily slideshow, the destination updates that we put on our VIP page regularly. We've been focusing on road trips for the past month, and it's been definitely a lot of fun for people who have been there before to comment on these places and say, I've been there, or then people who are planning, and people who are planning on taking a trip or saying things like, oh, I'm going to go there, and things like that. So me and Paul, we decided that we couldn't stand it anymore. We decided we were going to just jump in the car and take a road trip together as well, and we did. We took a short little drive from Phoenix to Las Vegas, a drive that I have not done in over a year. So I had to check it out. There were some neat things along the way. They're still building between Phoenix and Las Vegas. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. There's not really an interstate to go there, but they're working on one. It's been approved for quite a few years now. It's going to be called Interstate 11, and it's going to go from the south of Arizona, right around Nogales, all the way up through around Phoenix, probably to the west of Phoenix, and then continue up through over the Hoover Dam. Now, there are two stretches of Interstate 11 that have been completed already. One of them was this big bypass bridge that goes over Hoover Dam. For the longest time, it would actually add about, I would say, 30 minutes to the drive just going over the Hoover Dam, because it was down to 2 lanes and filtered in through this winding strip that actually ends up driving over Hoover Dam. That was like that forever. They put this a couple years ago. They put the bypass bridge in, and it goes right over Hoover Dam. You can't even see it. Blink and you miss it. But if you're ever down to Hoover Dam visiting it, you look up and see.
Yeah, it's impressive to see it from below, and
it's massive. Yes.
Well, and it's the first time either one. I don't know. I think it was the first time you said that the actual remainder of the bypass that goes around the city was done, Boulder City or whatever that town is there. And man, that really just.
That's right. Yeah.
So easy.
That's the second stretch of Interstate 11 that I was talking about.
Right into Las Vegas, right just south of, dumps you into the 215, and then you just come in right into the strip. It's really easy. So
right, the Boulder City bypass. It completely goes around Boulder City, so you don't have to wait through that traffic anymore. And I'll be honest with you guys, it used to take about 5 hours to drive. And before that was after, even before Hoover Dam was about 5.5 hours. When the Hoover Dam bypass went in, it was 5 hours, and we made it
4.5.
Yeah, we made it less than 4.5 hours now to Vegas. So the drive to Phoenix to Las Vegas now rivals the drive from LA to Las Vegas, which is about 3.5 to 4 hours, depending on where you're starting from.
Yeah.
So that was a great little road trip. We saw a lot of great sights as usual. Sometimes I don't do that trip during the day. So when you go during the day, it's a treat. There's a lot of Joshua trees along the way, a lot of mountains and hills, and beautiful desert scenery. If you're into that sort of thing, the drive from Phoenix to Las Vegas is it's well worth it.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but yeah, you might be saying, "Oh my gosh, Ed, you went to Las Vegas?" Well, yes, Paul twisted my arm.
After all the crap I gave you, because I've been twice now in this summer, and this is my third trip to Las Vegas this summer, and I've yet to catch the Rona. So
that's right. So he made a very good sales pitch to me, and we just decided to go, and I went for it, and it helped that some old friends were visiting Las Vegas that we hadn't seen in a while. So we jumped in a car and just made it happen. It was a short trip, but we had a good time. We stayed at Paris Casino, which was lovely, and I'm very, very impressed about how they're handling social distancing there. Everybody is required to wear a mask in the casino, and I think that's the standard everywhere. Paul, it was at the Wynn too when we went there.
Yeah, no, it's throughout Las Vegas, and they're pretty strict about that, which is good. It makes that's
yeah.
a good.
And by strict by it, that means they have security guards
Yeah.
that are down there patrolling, making sure you have masks on. And not only are they're making you go back to your room to get it. If you say you don't have one, they will provide one for you too. So they're being generous about it. And it's obvious to me their motivation is to keep everybody safe.
Yeah.
They're also social distancing. It was a completely different Vegas. It really was. They were social distancing all the slot machines. The slots weren't spread out, but the chairs were. So they weren't chairs in every single one. So you can maintain your distance from your fellow gamblers. The same thing at the table games. This surprised me. There was plexiglass everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, the craps tables was almost comical. You go in these little booths to roll your dice, so you can go. True. So basically you minimize your interaction with people who are also standing at the table. All the table games had plexiglass between you and the dealer. And it was just an interesting sight to see.
Even
all the
elevators, you can they're only allowing 4 people into an elevator. So.
Right. Unless you were a family, you can get more in there. But as far as the elevators to the rooms go, they were checking to make sure first that you had a room key, and then you were checked in. And then they were also making sure you only had 4 people go in there. So that was neat.
One thing I didn't catch, and I think they were doing, they must have been doing sort of a broad scan temperature at check-in. I know a lot of places are doing that. It's a little bit more seamless. When I'd gone to Caesars, they were actually doing the temperature gun on your head when you checked in. But I'm pretty sure Paris, and I know the Wynn, they're just doing broad, those infrared checks. So.
Yeah,
doing that too.
Yeah. So, the rooms were very nice. I was very impressed with Paris. It was really a very comfortable bed, and everything was. We had a pretty good view.
It's a fun property. It is.
Yeah. I didn't have any problems with the Wi-Fi since I was working for a good chunk of our second day there. The Wi-Fi was great. So we actually ended up going out to eat with our friends twice. The first one, we went to the Wynn buffet, and they reinvented the buffet at the Wynn, which it has a reputation of being a very, very upscale
buffet
already. But they decided to reinvent it, and instead of basically their idea of it was to provide you with a menu of everything that was available, about 88 items, I think it was, 80 to 85 items.
Yeah.
And then they were bring them to you 4 or 5 at a time. So you would order a small amount of things that you wanted to try. They bring them to you. And honestly, it was a neat cross between
toppings in the buffet.
Yeah, it reminded me of the being able to eat on a cruise ship. Let's say the dining room of a cruise ship, because there's no prices on there, or at least the ones that are provided for.
Right.
Like in Carnival, the main dining room, because you can order just about anything on those menus. They prefer you stick to the courses, but if you want more, you just ask for more. So it reminded me of that, but it also reminded me of going to a nice tapas restaurant. Because the portion sizes they bring you were pretty small, just enough for you to get a taste of something, and they bring them all to you separately. So let's see, I ordered a lobster. No, it was a seafood bake, and it had a big lobster claw on it and some other things too. And it was a small plate about this big, and then a couple other things too. The crab legs were great, but it was only a half of a claw. What was nice though, and they just bring everything out to you.
I
we
gotta
offer.
say, I think by doing that, I thought the quality was better. Like the quality was fresher, and the quality of the food, which at already was a good buffet, got even better because
Yeah.
you were getting it fresh. I ordered. I think I counted 14 items that I tried. I had an upset stomach that night, I admit, from
Oh,
trying it.
he's
But
only 14. And I had an upset
no,
stomach.
the only other thing I wanted to interject is it reminds me, and I don't think you've been there. And it's open now, the Wicked Spoon at the Cosmopolitan, and they've stuck more to a traditional buff when they reopened, more like what they were doing before. But they also do the small plates, even though you went up and you picked them yourself. And I think now you go close and then someone hands it to you. But I like that, and that's another popular buffet, the small plate idea, because I know there's appeal to just going for it, but it's nice. I feel like I get to try more things without just losing my steam, and there's something about getting a value out of a buffet and trying as many things as you can. I like that. So it
Yeah,
was.
the luxury of taking a plate and piling it up like that, I love that was gone, But I tell you what, and I did surprise you too. I actually preferred this to going to a buffet. I'm surprised to say that, being a buffet fiend that I am. I actually really, really, really enjoyed having the waitresses bring us these things every time
And you
chance
know
we want.
what? That's really sad because right after we got home, we got
Right.
we
There
got
is a sad part of the story.
we
Yes.
got yeah, you were getting there. I just was just like, oh no, man, Ed finally admitted that he loved it. And well, and you can add to it, but I mean, basically the news is, and this just came out yesterday. Today, what is today's Friday? This came out Thursday, that the Win was starting. I guess after this weekend on the 7th, they're dropping this new concept and going to reinvent themselves again. And you and I talked about how they said it was due to feedback, but I don't know. I think they probably were there was a lot of waiters that were having to, and all of the plates and all of that they, didn't have to deal with before. And I'm guessing it was just not working out cost wise. Because honestly, I mean, we went on a Sunday evening about 7:40, 7:30, but it wasn't that busy. It really wasn't. So
That's a good point. But we also went at the end of the
yeah,
buffet, which was 8 o'clock. So I could see how it could create a lot of problems when you have a lot of buffet servers who are all of a sudden thrust into this role of being a table runner. So I could see that being a problem. Also, having all of those extra servers running around doing all this, I could see it being a logistic problem. But I don't buy for a second what they said was the reason, which was that the polling of their guests actually preferred a traditional buffet style. Now, I get it. People are definitely conservative, and in terms of things like food and things like that. And people obviously want things the way they were, but I don't see anybody saying they would rather go get up. I just can't fathom this. Go get up and go get their own food rather than have somebody bring it to them. I mean, that's a stretch to
it
me.
was pretty awesome. Well, I know it's a moot point, but it was an interesting concept and we did enjoy it. And if anyone out there is listening, you got some fans in us and in the people we were with as well. So
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, MGM Bellagio, take some notes
yeah,
on this, because it was a really good idea. Maybe you guys could do it better. So, because they haven't opened they haven't opened theirs. And no, the other one that our friend wanted to go see was it Bacchanal. That's the one.
It was supposed to open right about the time we were there, but they've again delayed it. I mean, it's tough. It's a logistical issue now. I get it. So,
Yeah.
but we hit some
Um,
other good places up too. Let's talk about
yeah.
those.
Well, go ahead, Paul.
Oh no, I was just going to say, and I know you were going to talk about. We were impressed with Cafe Americano at Paris. They're doing table service. It's good to see that and table service restaurants they're open in Vegas. I've done that before. This was a more casual place that was in the hotel. Some of the other places I still recommend highly getting a reservation on Open Table ahead of time, because capacity is still limited in places. And one thing that I did want to comment on is the first time I went back to Vegas this summer was in late June, and things were really just opening back up, and actually more things were open then. They ended up we followed up on this. They ended up, being stricter with the mask thing. They closed down bars, which makes it challenging. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. But mainly my observation is I was there, we were there Sunday, Monday this time. And that trip in June, I was there Sunday, Monday, and it's night and day, the amount of people that are in Las Vegas now as there were a little over 2 months ago. It's crazy. And I get it. Numbers are going down. People are stir crazy. And I think still, based on the numbers I saw a couple of weeks ago, the bulk of their traffic is coming in from drivable locations like Los Angeles and Phoenix and such. There's still not a ton of people flying in. I mean, but there's more and more. It's just be prepared, because the video that Steph and I did back in June, we commented about how empty it was, and it's picked back up significantly. Not to a point where I felt uncomfortable, but you still need to be prepared ahead of time for your dining reservations and such.
Yeah, I will tell you this: the Strip, even on a Sunday night, looked a lot more crowded than I expected it to be, and it didn't seem like people were paying much mind. At least out in public, about social distancing. But I will say this, the Paris wasn't so crowded that I couldn't stay 6 feet away from people. Yeah. So that was a good thing. And then check-in on a Sunday, obviously it's going to be dead anyway, but I was able to get in smoothly.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. And, they're starting to live with the new reality. And obviously it's going to be with us for a while. But our biggest other concern was obviously bars being closed, being able to have some drinks and have a cigar, where we both like a cigar. Tell us about that experience at the Paris.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to get to that as well. It was really a fun little thing to discover that the bars and the lounges were open. And they seem to have found a way to get around that, which I think is fair. Everything was pretty well spaced out, but you're obviously not going to be able to sit and have your mask off without, maybe eating and drinking. So what they did, they was able to put a food item on their lounge that you can buy. And Paul and I discussed this. It's pretty much just a cover charge.
It's a cover charge. It's like anywhere between $6 and $10.
Yeah, it was reasonable. So there was a $6 cookie you can buy. They bring that cookie. As long as there's food in front of you, they're considered a cafe, not a bar. And they'll be able to bring you your drinks as well. You're not also allowed to have a drink unless you have food in front of you. Yeah. So we figured it was worth it to just pay the $6, get a cookie, and then have the drink to our heart's content, and have a little smoke right there in the lounge, especially since it was so darn hot outside, right, Paul?
And it had been about an 8.5 mile walk from the self parking to the check-in, but we were ready to kick our feet up. But it was nice, and like you said, it was, even though you have to have food to drink, it's okay. It was okay to have your mask off, but even then, obviously there were people together that were traveling together, but those people were all spread out well more than 6 feet apart from each other in the seating areas. I feel like they probably took some seating out, and
I felt safe. And that's saying something. I'm a little bit more of a COVID phobe than you are, and I was definitely trying my best to keep my distance and keep my mask on, and do everything safely as the CDC recommends. And I felt like I could have a good time, and I did. I had a great time with you, Paul.
I'm glad. I had a great time too. It's probably the last time I'm going to go back for a while. 3 times, and I usually only maybe go twice a year tops, and I've already hit 3 in the last 3 months. So that's enough. And but it kind of is a good way to cap off our summer of talking about local trips and drives and all of that. And as you'll hear in our coming weeks, we'll get back to news next week with some of what's going on. I'm starting to get some maybe some hope in things that I'm reading that cruise lines maybe might start it limited by even November. We'll wait and see. I don't know. But my point is simply, we're going to start talking a little bit more about widening our world again, and at least thinking about, looking ahead, because as we'll talk about, travel is going to get more expensive because everyone's going to want to do it. and the capacity is only going to be so much. So it's a good thing to think about. I know
Paul, everybody I've talked to is already thinking about traveling. I mean, you talk to anybody who's asked to work, who's been working from home, or anybody is still in some kind of quarantine or situation. Even the memory of March and April for these people who are just stuck in quarantine was enough to make them say, "Yeah, I gotta get out of here." So you got to be dreaming about a vacation right now. And if you are, give us a call, talk to us. We're booking all the way out to 2022 right now.
Yep.
We have stuff on book so we can put you in. So if you think, wow, maybe a year from now, everything's got to be fine, right? So if you want to make that gamble and go ahead and put a vacation down, it might be a good idea to lock it in now. And then you've got something to look forward to over the next year. As things get better, you can get more and more excited about traveling again. Even 6 months from now, we have some great cruise itineraries. And let me tell you something else. Paul mentioned this. Prices are going up. They're going up. They're going to go up faster and faster the more people decide, oh yeah, they're going to get, we're going to start traveling again. And so if you're thinking about it, that's why I said gamble. If you think a year away, it might be a little bit too far for you to plan out. Think about how much you might be saving by taking advantage.
I guarantee it. I mean, I don't like
take advantage of some of these prices right now.
Yeah, and even just one final thought on that is, even if obviously the world in terms of travel that we live in will continue to be different for a long time, but it's nice that at every month that goes by, we're looking to the future, obviously, but places like Las Vegas or resorts or cruise line, everything's going to be different, and it's going to be, they're making accommodations for even if things do last longer than we want in terms of things, they're going to be prepared for it. Obviously the world was not prepared for what hit us, and even if it's not back to the way it is normally a year from now, it certainly will be worthwhile to travel. So
got to keep learning. That's
right.
What we do.
That's
All
right.
right. Well, hey everybody, thanks for tuning in today. We love recapping our Vegas trip with you. And honestly, if you're thinking about travel, give us a call. Go to our website, look, get some ideas. Look through some of our completely packaged vacations we have there, and some of the other great
place to start
ideas.
Your dreaming, because the search engine for our land vacations and our cruise vacations, it is fantastic. Just give it a look, and then it's you can do it whenever you want.
That's getawaygang.com. Paul's going to put a link down here for everybody. And if you're not a member of our VIP page, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and click the link for that as well and sign up. We're on YouTube, or excuse me, on Facebook every day, posting new content. It's a fun place. We have a lot of people who interact with us, and it's great. So join us, and if you like YouTube, subscribe to us as well. Thanks again for watching. We'll be back next week with a news update. Take care, everybody.
I look forward to it. Thanks, Ed, and we appreciate you all. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.